Hello, my dear gardening friends. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and the New Year's will be a wonderful holiday for you as well. Well, my house for Christmas is always full of people. We have my husband's family coming over, and there are a lot of kids who are not kids anymore. They're teenagers, and it's a lovely time we have in my house. But today I want to share with you my garden-related Christmas gifts, which I gave and I receive this season. First, I want to tell you a little bit about this corner of my room. This is the side corner of my living room, of our living room, and here usually we have a display of a nativity set. It's a porcelain one, very old one, vintage one, and I really like it. I inquired it at some used consignment store several years ago, and my husband placed this nativity set here for the first time this season, and I really like it here. So I think from now on this place for Christmas will be occupied by this nativity set. We have several of them, and the sun in the morning shines through this little window and it falls right here on Jesus, which is very lovely. So here, this area is very sunny during the day, and I bring all my, not all, the most favorable plants from my sunroom here inside of the house for winter, because our sunroom is somewhat cold, and several of my plants are not really happy in that cold environment. And I don't really say that it's really cold, but you know, around 58, 57 degrees, and the jade tree really doesn't like it. So jade tree travels inside the house. Plus, I invested so much time and energy to raise this jade tree from a little baby leaf, that I don't want it to be damaged by the cold weather. And also here we have what do we have here? Lime tree, which is my daughter's baby, my daughter's plant, and he continues to be very happy here, I must say. Oh, this guy got stuck. Okay. He produced new little shoots for this time, for the last 2 weeks. But in the middle, we have a new addition, this Amaryllis. And this Amaryllis was given to me as a gift. And since in my house I don't have a lot of well-lit windows with a lot of sun during the whole, bigger part of the day, I really didn't want to buy Amaryllis, but since I was gifted it, I'm going to keep it in the house. And you know what? When I read the instructions on the package, and my husband threw away the instructions, so I can't show you really. But according to the instructions, Amaryllis is treated as almost like a one-season Christmas decoration, which is so wrong, because Amaryllis is a perennial bulb which creates magnificent, beautiful flowers every year, and the older the bulb is, and with proper care, the bulb is becoming bigger and bigger every year, and it is able to produce more and more beautiful blooms. I remember I grew up in my house with several Amaryllis plants, and one of them was very red and rich. And that Amaryllis was living in my house for many, many years. My mom was cherishing it until one year my dad decided to turn it into a door stopper and put it on the freezing floor, and that poor bulb froze, because it was in dormant stage at that time. So it was just sitting there. Oh, my mom almost had a heart attack when she saw that. So here I have Amaryllis. And in case some of you want to treat Amaryllis as this temporary Christmas decoration which will be tossed away, please don't do it. And when I read the instruction on this Amaryllis, it said, no need to fertilize. It's going to bloom and delight you for your Christmas holidays. No, when plant is actively growing, it needs nutrition and it needs to be treated accordingly. So when we are hungry, we need to eat. When plant is growing, it needs to eat. So I'm going to treat my Amaryllis very well, feed him some liquid fertilizer. And when the garden will be getting very nice and kind of warmish at the beginning of spring, I will be doing the compost tea. And compost tea is one of the best things you can do for your inside plants. So basically what I will be doing, I have the bin which rotates, and we do all our kitchen scraps there. And at the bottom of that bin, we have a container which collects all the juices from that composting soil, and those juices sit there through the winter, and they kind of go through this freezing thawing cycle, and they're really good for the houseplants. So when the weather is a little bit warmer, if I can put my hands on that liquid, I'm going to use it and water my beautiful Amaryllis. Will add a little bit to my citrus plant, and the jade tree will get it too, you know. And the second gift which I received for Christmas is this beautiful little birdie. Look at this. Isn't he a cute one? We have in my family, we have a tradition that every year each family member receives a Christmas ornament. And it is related to all sorts of activities which we did through that year, since a lot of birds are singing in my garden, and I do miss birds chirping outside in the middle of winter. I really look forward to that first happy, springy song of the bird, especially very early in the morning, when everything is quiet and suddenly you hear that first singing. And you cannot mistaking it. It sounds like a happy spring bird song. So my husband, in that following that fascination with birds of mine, gave me a little bird for Christmas. And all of our kids received Christmas ornaments related to Ukrainian winter scenes. And there's one more Christmas gift which I want to share with you, which is totally not really related to garden, but I'm very proud of it. And I think you will enjoy looking at too. So this is a gift to my youngest son, a quilt which I made for him according to his interests. You know, I put images on that quilt, which of whatever my son likes to do, his interests, his hobbies, what he likes to read, and all that stuff. And you know how I did it on a, well, it wasn't a cheap project, it was a fairly expensive project. And the way I did that quilt was I went to the fabric store, Joann's fabric store, and I went through all the fabrics, and I screened every particular fabric. And if the images there were of something my son likes to do, I put those fabrics into my shopping cart. And of course, if I would be buying half a yard of every fabric, it would be super expensive. So I came to the cutting table at Joann's store, and I asked the lady there, what is the smallest amount of fabric you can sell to me? And she says, as long as you want 2 inches of fabric, we will sell it to you. You should see how happy I was, because I could literally purchase this amount of fabric with the image I wanted, and I could use that image on the quilt and not pay you know, $6 for half a yard of fabric. So I think I bought probably 15 different strips of fabrics. The cutting lady probably hated me for doing all that job for me, but I had a nice pleasant conversation with her, and we chatted about quilts, and I was talking to her how she's doing quilts, so it was all good. So here it is. I'm going to show you the quilt I did. On the front I did all sorts of Sherlock Holmes spies, printed letters and all that stuff, chess inspired scene. And on the back I did all sorts of little, like, Dr. Seuss and traveling, hiking, book reading, and all that stuff. So here it is. I'm going to show you on my sofa. Here it is. This is the quilt. I decided to use a dark background, and the center is light, and in the center I found this funny fabric which had all sorts of different quotes. And just look at this one. The big question, where is he who must not be named? Now, next one is, you know who's stronger than ever as atrocities persist. You have nothing to fear if you have nothing to hide. Here we have Forbidden Forest. I included some vintage cars. My son loves Yankees, so here we go. New York Yankees. We are 60 miles from New York City. Since we love visiting Ukraine, grandparents in Ukraine, and Ukrainian grandparents live on the farm, my kids are familiar with all sorts of different animals, so I included that. Vintage machines. Chess. Some more animals. Here we have old-fashioned scene, which I labeled Ukraine, right here. I did have to repeat some of the writings. Oh, here we go, one more thing which I like. Here we go, a typewriter. My son enjoys writing and reading, and it says, a message from future Dwight. So this is the front of the quilt, and I'm going to show you the back of the quilt. And this is the back of the quilt. It's all beige, and on it I put quite a lot of images of different things my son likes to do. So here we have take the scenic route. The toothpaste and toothbrush image was just for fun, you know. The passport and letters is good because we are traveling family. Sushi is famous. Some Dr. Seuss character. Here we have Treasure Island. And all these images were cut from little strips of fabric which I bought from Joann's store. This one, the image of the Holy Family, I had to order online. But I wanted to make sure that this image is included into the quilt. And here I put a cute little rabbit with a sign from Mom to my son, 2022. So this is a quilt I spent 3 days sewing before Christmas. We do love to open our gifts on Christmas Day. We usually have an evening Christmas Mass in the church, and there is a lot of caroling and singing, and we come home in a cheerful Christmas mood, and morning is a time of gifts. And there's nothing better than kids getting excited in the morning, waking us up before we had the chance to have a first cup of coffee, and they look forward to all the gifts. I do wrap all the gifts and write something on top of them to tell them in advance what it is, which is also funny, which is also a playful way. And It's very fulfilling to make a gift with your own hands to your own child and know that that gift will be with them, hopefully for a long time. They will enjoy it. My oldest son, who is in college, said that he's going to take his quilt, mom's quilt, with him to college. So this is a little bit of our Christmas season celebration. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I wish you all the best in the new year, and I will see you in my next video.